talking today with Mr. James Beatty, the executive director of the African American Golf Digest. He's the chairman of Golf Recreation Competitive Play. He sits on several boards. He's been in the industry for a while. He knows what he's talking about. He knows people. I was at the expo and I was just blown away with the quality of the people. For me, it was somewhat of a union because I used to go down to the merchandising show perhaps for the last 15 years or so. I knew Miss DeBert Cook, and so I saw several people. I actually lived and operated in the golfing industry in Orlando for about 7 years because I took a deep dive, as you say, by direction of the Lord, because I believe this is a calling that God is calling us together. So the Nehemiah Project and the role that we can play in it, because it is a calling, you surround yourself with the right people, like-minded people, and you develop a plan. And it's not just your plan. Like you said, Jim, you took a leap of faith, you made a faith statement, and now the work begins. And so part of the work is actually moving the needle. I love the reception that we had there on Saturday evening, and how you said, we have got to move the needle. We've got to move the needle on this $84 billion industry. And oh, by the way, the sponsors see the potential. They're inviting, they're welcoming, and this is the right time. We would call this a Kairos moment if you're in ministry, right? It's when all the things come together. Now, here's the point. If we work together, we're going to be able to move that needle. But there are people pushing, and they're pushing as individuals. They may go fast, but they will not go far. And what I loved about the expo is that you see people, we saw people there like Ty with his brand Deuce, right?
Right.
Ty has persevered. He's been in this for a moment. We talk about Divert Cook and others that were there, and they slow but steady, and they're winning the race, and the opportunities are open up to us now. How we navigate that, and I want to talk about that, Jim, as to how we navigate that, what the vision looks like going forward. But I want to go on record to commend you for the work that you guys have already done. And Pete McDaniels was there, and Pete has the book Uneven Fairways and the documentary. I'm here in Charlotte, and a lot of that history evolved around guys like Charlie Sifford and Jim Black and James Dent and all of these guys that were Joe Lewis that were together breaking that color barrier. Just 60 years ago, there was a white-only clause attached to the game of golf. That's gone. That has been eradicated. So the floodgates can be open wide, but we have to educate. And so what I loved about the forum, it was not just an expo about golf gadgets, right? But it was an educational forum. There was education happening and relationships being built, because that's the key about golf. It's a networking tool. And that's why every person that's going to do impactful business or make a difference in the world, they need to have this tool in their toolbox. It says, I remember when I first got started, Jim, I was mentoring my son and 6 of his friends. We lived in a suburb of Springfield, Massachusetts, and we went into, I worked in the inner city, and we got 6 inner city kids and brought them around my friend and they were actually my son's friends. And I told them, I said, whatever you guys want to be, I'm going to help to draw a map. I'm going to mentor you to do that. But you're going to have to learn golf. And I'm just going to tell the audience what they said to me. They says, oh, we thought we were going to have fun. We don't want to play golf. That's a white man's game. We don't want to have fun. I says, well, we're going to have fun. We're going to play basketball. We're going to play football. We're going to swim, but you're going to learn golf as well. So long story short, found a local pro there. His name is Joe Eady. He's the golf coach at Springfield College there in Springfield, and he gave me a great rate for the kids, $30 for 8 weeks over the summer to teach the kids. And they taught them, and my son is learning, and he's having fun with his friends, and he's hitting the ball out there 250 yards at 11 years old. I'm like, I need to learn this game. And I learned it because it's a lifelong tool. You can play it until you're 90 years old. I tell people I'm at halftime. I'm 60 now, but I'm planning on going at least to 120 years old, and I'm going to be playing golf all the way, enjoying life, because I believe that that's what God wants us to do. But we also have to educate people around the game, because if African Americans don't know the value of the game and they don't feel welcome in the game, and even though they may have the resources to play the game and overcome the barriers to the game, they're not going to persevere. And that's the key. Golf helps you to develop the character to be able to be a great entrepreneur, but even above that, to be a great leader. And what we need in our world is leaders of integrity, leaders, righteous leaders that will step up and that will die for a cause, if you will. They will give their lives for it. And so, Jim, I feel like that you're that type of guy, and you've got people around you. You've had, you have great people that are supporting you. And so what I want to talk about now is really the vision. And I know you guys have had conversations, and you're probably having backdoor conversations all the time, but I want you to reveal to our audience the vision of where we're going with the African American Golf Expo and Forum. Where are we going with this? Because you talked about moving that needle, and we only had a condensed period of time to talk about it, but now we're able. I want to expand that conversation, and then I want to recruit more people in, because we are stronger together. We're going to be able to persevere and go through whatever difficulties that we have to go through. Even though the flood doors are open, we're going to have barriers, we're going to have oppositions, but we will overcome them together. Where are we going with the African American Golf Expo? Let's say 10 years out, Jim. What do you see?
Certainly. As I mentioned, the vision came from the Lord, but I need to state the permission came from my wife to do this. So I need to state that right away.
Yes,
So I don't
sir.
get in trouble. But she's my partner of my wife, my partner, my friend of 53 years we've been married now.
Wow. Congratulations, sir.
So in terms of the vision, I'd say we're still developing it, but here is Charles. It's along the lines of continued creating economic opportunities in the industry of golf. Many people, I believe, are confused or simply don't know or don't realize you do not have to be a golfer to be in the industry of golf.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably helpful, but it is not a requirement. And every one of the organizations that were represented at the expo will make that statement that we will take you. We have jobs in public relations, social media, marketing. It goes on and on, journalism. So we want to continue to be the gathering point for those kinds of activity and messages. 10 years from now, certainly we would hope that the 4-day event might turn into a week-long event. We see each expo as a culmination of that prior year. What have we accomplished? By trade, I'm a mathematician. My degree is in mathematics, so I tend to try to measure everything. So next year, as an example, I want to be able to give to the people in attendance and state to the people, here's what happened as a result of the expo, or that the expo played a role in happening. People received contract, people got jobs. I need to be able to say that. It's very important for me that people see the expo as theirs. This is not Jim Beatty's expo. This is your expo as an African American, a person of color, or an exhibitor or sponsor that want to get to this market. It's yours. We want to keep it. We want to keep it sensitive to that, and we also want to keep it from your point of view, what you want to have done. So we'll
Hmm.
continue to involve the industry again on a basis whereby they're talking one-on-one with the people in the trenches. I should also mention that many community-based organizations that are teaching golf around the country were involved this year. We want to continue to see that happen as well too, and provide a forum for those organizations to be able to grow their respective organizations and market themselves on a better on a local as well as on a national basis. So this is continues to be a culmination, just as you have with every other organization, an annual meeting. This is what I see it as. It's an annual meeting, just as the National Urban League, the NAACP, doesn't matter. They have annual meetings to talk about the progress that they've made and also to talk about what they need to do next year and beyond that. I see it following that type of format for certain. In other respects, I see it as an annual shareholder meeting. That's the relationship. These people are invested with me mentally, physically, emotionally. I owe them a report, and I intend to report every year on what we're doing and how well we're doing, and also to receive their feedback on how we can get better, how we can address issues and topics that they want to hear, that they want to learn more about. We want to
Hmm.
continue to be relevant in that respect too.
Nice. I love it. I love it. I love the fact that you're making this a community effort, right? And you're bringing the community. It's a community collaboration. It's about how we can be better together, how we can grow in an industry and take full advantage. Now, I am of the opinion that one of the greatest game changers, and I think the entire industry would agree, has been Tiger Woods. Tiger has moved the needle, particularly where purses are concerned. So this weekend, the Tour Championship is in Atlanta. I think we were 1 week off, Jim. We needed to be there this week, right? So we could enjoy the Tour Champion and watch somebody collect a $15 million check as a result of winning the FedEx Cup. Imagine that, a $15 million check for hitting a little white ball up down the road, up the fairways into a little hole. And we love doing that as African Americans. We have the dollars to spend. You've done the research. We spend money on golf equipment, sporting equipment. We buy balls, we buy clubs, we buy apparel, we buy every kind of accessory that helps to improve your game. But by the way, you really cannot buy a game. You need to practice and you need to play, which
Yes.
means that, in our opinion, from the Nehemiah standpoint, that you need to build a business because we help people to generate and create wealth. You know, a lot of people they may be really good at what they do corporately, and golf is a great tool for corporate development, professional development. It helps to get you into the old boy network when the old boys are going out on Friday early from work. They're actually probably going over to the country club to play golf. And if you don't play, you won't get the invite. So we want people to understand how to do that. And there are entry doors. I like to tell people golf entertainment, places like Top Golf is a gateway to the game, and you can actually develop the game around a family entertainment environment where you can have food and beverage and a controlled environment to hit some balls and then take it to the green grass. You don't have to be an expert and you don't have to be intimidated by the game. The same research talks about how many rounds we're playing. 64% of the African American Golfers Digest readers are playing 6 to 25 rounds per year. 27% are playing over 26 rounds per year. And I'll add in that they're traveling to some very extravagant places to play, and the DR to Africa to places in Europe. They're actually well-educated individuals. 79% of them are college graduate. I should say of us are college graduates. 75% of them are professionals. So if you want to get to know the who's and people that are making decision, golf is the place to be, right? And they're buying these country club memberships. And oh, by the way, organizations that have supported, one of the sponsors was Club Corps. Club Corps is very welcoming and inviting, and it's an affordable alternative to just spending your money willy-nilly. Have your money work for you in places that you can build positive and productive relationships, and at the end of the day build businesses that we can hire young people in our communities and help to develop their leadership skills. And if they will learn this game and persevere, I can attest to it. I've done it with my son. I've done it with many others. I'm doing it here in Charlotte, and we are seeing the needle move. But as you say, Jim, this annual meeting could be a stakeholders meeting where we are able to report out the numbers and say, hey, this is what we've done in 10 years. I'd love to be able to see us go from less than 2% ownership to 10% ownership in the industry, and then even move beyond that to help to grow the industry as the tiger craze has, and make sure that if there's one tiger in the woods, guys, guess what? There are multiple tigers in the woods. We just have to find them, develop them, and deploy them. And the industry is welcoming enough at this time for us to be able to sit down at the table and have these strategy sessions to make this happen. So it's an exciting time for us. And I say us, Jim, because I'm a part. You've got a son here that you get to mentor, right? And you had over 20, between 15 and 20 different workshops over the 2 days. What would it look like if we had those workshops in individual cities and they travel from city to city throughout the year, one or two a month, and then the culmination is the annual golf expo, right? And those things that I'm thinking about how we can contribute. I know that BH365, Dr. Milton and Dr. Friedman, I'm having conversations with them to be able to host some of those things, to be able to go and look at maybe even partnering with the PGA Superstore. Tell us about your relationship with the PGA Superstore, and you had Ralph Stokes there. Tell us more about that.
Well, the PGA Tour Superstore is an outstanding organization. I met their president, Mr. Dick Sullivan, at the PGA show in Orlando a couple of years ago, and formed a relationship with him and his team. So when this expo became a part of my life, I reached out to the PGA Tour Superstore, went down to Atlanta, went to their corporate headquarters, and met with Ralph Stokes and his team. And they were very open and inviting and extremely participative in what and how they wanted to become involved. So I'm very, very thankful to Ralph Stokes, Dick Sullivan, their entire team on how they have become involved with the expo. Ralph also sat on two panels. He sat on the panel Saturday night, talking about the PGA Tour and golf impact in the local Atlanta economy. And he also sat on the panel dealing with volunteerism in golf for African Americans, which, if I may, that's an excellent way to learn about the behind the scenes. Certainly, as you have pointed out, there's Tiger Woods and others, but to put on a golf event is a significant undertaking. So one way that we learn, anyone, black, white, brown, doesn't matter, is through volunteering. And any and every event on the PGA, the LPGA, USGA, all require volunteers in a significant number to carry that out. So that was a very important panel. You are absolutely correct. Any one of the 15 or so panels that we had, any one of those topics can stand alone and be a topic for a workshop in different cities around the country, should we decide to do that. Um, we tried to cover a lot. We were extremely ambitious in trying to cover so much territory and so many topics in 2 days, but I felt, being the first time out, we need to cover as much as we can. People, yes, had to make a choice as to which workshops they were going to go to. That was fine with me. I like that. But you are absolutely right, Charles. Any one of those topics, which range from volunteerism in golf, own golf course ownership. There are 15,000 golf courses in America. 15 to 16,000 is the number I recall, of
Mm-hmm.
which, according to my research, nine, nine, nine,
Right.
nine are owned by African Americans.
Yeah.
We have opportunities there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and you had Jay Karen, the
yeah,
CEO of the golf course, well,
National Golf
NGC,
Course Owners Association. Yes.
and I sat in on that workshop, and there was a gentleman that, and his name is slipping me, a black gentleman that,
Stanley Campbell.
yeah,
Stanley
Stanley
Campbell.
Campbell was, he just purchased a golf course, and he was talking about revitalizing a golf
Yeah.
course, but making it have a community impact while
Yes.
he was doing it. And it was just a phenomenal workshop, and it opened the eyes. And I'll tell you how it opened my eyes as a business coach and trainer, is that he talked about the business cluster that exists in a golf course. So when you think about golf course, you have agronomy, you have taking care of the grass, the greens, and cutting, but then you have food and beverage over here. And oh, by the way, you've got construction over here. And oh, by the way, you've got your marketing people over there. And all of those are separate businesses, but run under one corporate roof.
Yeah.
And if, as a wise business person, you understand that. And it was a gentleman, Rock, out of South Carolina, that kind of helped to emphasize that. And these guys, it was phenomenal because they had another gentleman on that wasn't able to come, and he was sort of in a distressed situation up. I think he was in Ohio, and he phoned in, and these guys rallied around him to help him to think about his situation a little bit different, because he wasn't being embraced by the community, and he had a lot of issues that he was dealing with. And we started to talk about an exit strategy, because, oh, by the way, every good business has an exit strategy, right? Because all of us are going to transition. So if you don't prepare for your transition will hit you, and then the very thing that you prize may not be a great inheritance for your kids. It may be a headache. And so they really wrapped their brains around them, and they came up with some solutions, and they embraced this golf course owner, which was a minority golf course owner. And so the networking that happens in golf, and the camaraderie that happens around the game of golf, and it shifts the paradigm, because really it becomes a business strategy for us to grow together. Then you had the like AJGA there. So you had not only owners there, but you had individuals that are looking for college opportunities and getting, those scholarships. You had the Black Girls Golf there in Atlanta, and you mentioned the Golf Course Superintendent Association. There was just a great collaboration of people coming together to brainstorm, what do we do to move that economic needle in this $84 billion industry, and yet we have less than 2% of African American ownership. Part of it is that we have to embrace that we should and could own in the industry. And then the second part, and I love what Mr. Ralph Stokes talked about, we don't necessarily need permission, right? Because we're a value add to the conversation.
Yes.
It is a great business strategy to go after $1.3 trillion worth of economic power. People are going to spend their money, so they might as well spend it with you, but they have to feel welcome in spending their money. So I love the fact that David, I think it's David Pillsbury from Club Corps, A
Yeah.
CEO takes time out to bring his entire C-suite to this event and talk about how they're adjusting their culture because they want it to be inviting for all people, particularly African Americans. They want them to feel welcome in this environment. So they're waving the flag, guys, and saying, come on over here. You're welcome over here. Let's get in. Now, here's the reason why I brought BH360 to the table, because it's important for us to know our past. And our past didn't start with slavery. It actually goes way into ancient Africa. It goes all the way through Canada, where we were able to enjoy our freedoms, and yes, we passed through slavery, passed through all of those things, Jim Crow, we passed through that, but we're not there now. And we have to be creative, we have to be innovative, and we have to be able to control the conversation and the narrative where we're concerned. And we are such a great innovative people that if we will begin to add our value, our innovation to the conversation goes a whole different direction. I like to say when black people show up, we're getting ready to get pretty spicy up in here, because everybody else might enjoy the bland, but we bring the spice and we bring the excitement to the table, and therefore we bring an addition to all the things that are good, but we make it better. Oftentimes we talk about good, but good is often the enemy to great. And now we have an opportunity to take a great industry and make it even greater, just like the nation. The nation is a great nation, but how do we make it better for all people? And so, Jim, I'm looking forward to continuing our conversation around how we can grow it,